Good morning, good afternoon, all the ships at sea. Welcome to Dave TV. We're saluting the Army today. People always ask me, why do I always wear these military t-shirts? I think, again, I was not in the military. Today, considering how expensive college is, I probably would have joined the Army or the Marines or something. I don't know, but back then in 1970s, whatever, I just didn't. I respect what the military does, and I'm proud to wear the shirts and promote them and all that. And I like camo. But anyhow, I digress. It's the 26th of August, 2013. How y'all doing, everybody? Got a couple interesting things here. Got this from a DCR TV fan over the weekend. The prime of WGMS. Remember Dennis Owens and Renee Cheney. When old WGMS was on 103.5, right? TOP is now, for many, many years. And Dennis was, everybody loved Dennis. Everybody loved Dennis. This was on his 40th anniversary at the station. So I didn't do the math on that. This doesn't have a date. It's a Washington Post article. But, it goes into, I'm looking at it's probably somewhere in the 80s, right? We're somewhere in the 80s for this, maybe 1990-ish, I don't know. Back when the Washington Post actually had had local media news in it, something you don't find in the Post anymore. But, it's just interesting. Okay, it says WGMS was owned by RKO General. So that has to be before DCR TV came along. No, DCR TV, we're going to be hitting our 16th anniversary next month. So this has to be, and we started in 1997, so this is definitely before that. So this is probably somewhere in the 80s. But very cool there, and a nice little article. Of course, you can read it right there. Just hit the pause. I don't think it's, hit the pause button and read it right on the, yeah, it goes into the whole history of WGMS and all that. Remember WGMS AM on 570, and how owner RKO was going to turn that into a top 40 outlet back in the early 70s, and there was a whole lot of protest about it. But anyhow, some very cool there. Dennis Owens. All right, folks. The other big news today, or over the weekend, or whatever. Somebody tells me that 97.7 in Northern Virginia out of maybe Great Falls may be used to relay WAMU's intersection. That's their HD3. Now their HD2 is on 105.5. You can hear that. It's Bethesda. It's a pretty good signal inside the Beltway anyway. And I was out here in Reston. We're a couple miles outside the Beltway. Comes in pretty well. Looks like WAMU is looking to get their signals on at least some low power analogs. That's a good idea for those sub channels. We're hearing lots of rumblings about WPFW these days. Pacifica is having a lot of financial troubles. And, of course, WPFW on 89.3's signal troubles lately because of towers being worked on, so they're on low power. They're, running out of money. Pacifica is what will happen to Pacifica? I think Pacifica does a very good thing here in Washington, and that's provide jazz music, because there's no other outlet for jazz music on the radio dial here in Washington, and that's something that needs to be preserved. And I'm just hoping that if PFW and Pacifica doesn't make it, that somebody like WAMU or WETA, either one of those entities, they have a really good heritage of local broadcasting. They know the Washington market. I hope one of those entities can purchase 89.3 and then either keep the jazz or do some kind of a world music mix or AAA like what XP in Philadelphia does, or do something with it, because I would just hate to see those signals get gobbled up by some foreign company, some company from somewhere else and turned into some cookie cutter K-Love or something like that. I want to see them stay local. So let's all, if PFW can't make it, if Pacifica can't survive, if they sell their DC station, let's hope. I'm really hoping it's either AMU or WETA to buy that and do something cool with it, because they're the only hopes, I think, in this market. other than maybe Towson University. I can't see Towson University coming down to Washington and buying that signal. It's going to go for a lot of money. This is Washington, and a lot of groups are going to want that signal. It's a big, powerful, when the towers working and all that, a big, powerful signal, and it's going to go for a lot of money. And it would be great if Towson could buy it and put WTMD down here in the Washington area. That's just a pipe dream. You know, as I said before, it would be nice. It would just be nice if Towson could get a low-power signal down here in the Washington area, like that 89.7 down there in Prince William County, Dumfries area that is run by Liberty University. They could get that signal and then relay TMD or simulcast TMD or 89.7 maybe out of the Fairfax area, do something finagling with it. That would be so friggin' cool, baby. Also, some news we broke last week about Andy Pollin, that it looks like they're going to do a morning show for Andy on 570. You know, Dan Snyder has Red Zebra Broadcasting here in Washington. They own WTEM 980, and they also own that that sports talker on 570 called Sports WSPZ Spaz Radio, I like to call it. Here's my theory, okay? Poor old WTEM can't get any traction with that Mike and Mike show from ESPN. I don't know what kind of contract Dan Snyder has with ESPN, but what if that goes away and they need to put a morning show in there for WTEM, the big signal. It seems to me that maybe they're grooming Andy for that, and maybe getting a show started on 570 that maybe somewhere down the line would move over to 980 and be the impetus of a 980 morning show locally based. So let's hope something like that's in the works, because that would be cool. Another cool thing would be, and I don't think this is going to happen, WMAL to put a local and live afternoon show in place of Sean Hannity. We hear that Sean's not renewing his contract with Cumulus, who owns WMAL, which means that slot's going to become vacant, and the word is that it's going to be that dingbat Wiener guy, Michael Wiener. I mean, well, his real name's Michael Wiener, Michael Savage. Oh, I don't like my name. I'm going to call myself Savage. Anyhow, yeah, piping it in, cheapo Cumulus. But I think if Cumulus was really committed to building WMAL as a major competitor to WTOP and WAMU, not an also-ran, I think they would need to put some, have a local morning drive show, which needs a lot of work. Gramps and the Breitbart Goon, and then it should also have an afternoon drive show, local and live. I don't know, I mean, you could even put the idiot Chris Plan over there, but pair him with somebody intelligent, because he needs that. Ay, Kavakia. Okay, so what else is going on today? So, I'm sitting here, the TV dial. Let me get this, the wires here. I was surfing the TV dial the other day. It's my favorite. This is one of my favorite channels, by the way. WETA UK. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But anyhow, checking out Dave's DVR, right? You want to check out, let's see what's on Dave's DVR. Look at it. Got Breaking Bad, Talking Bad. I got a whole bunch of Arrested Developments, which I haven't gotten to watch. Ladies of Letters. It's on WETA UK Friday nights at 8. Really a wonderful show. I highly advise it. It's one of the funniest things to come out of England in quite a while. Oh, look, here's Archibald Campbell. And look at what, let's check out Arch this week from his show from Friday and Thursday. And guess who's on it? One of our all-time favorites.
Thank you so much. And good evening, everybody, and welcome to another big night. And I am so excited about this evening. Everybody who is going to be on this show tonight has distinguished themselves in their field, except for me. So I've surrounded myself with greatness this evening. Let's start with our guest announcer tonight. Look, everybody, it's Gordon Peterson, the Dean of Washington Anchorman. Gordon, how great to have you on the program.
What do you mean, guest announcer? What is this, 1942 radio?
Yes, basically. I thought I had told you that. We're doing a 1942 radio show on television.
You told me, but I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago, so that doesn't help. Anyway, the agreement was, yes, I do this, yes, you return the pictures right after the broadcast, right? Yes. Because it was a youthful indiscretion. I was only like 55, so that's the deal.
But before we get started, I mean, you've been in Washington since the late 60s. What got you into broadcasting anyway?
Well, after I got out of the Marine Corps, I didn't want to go to work. And a radio station in my hometown gave me a job as a news director with no experience, and the broadcast reflected that.
Wonderful.
And then for some reason, somebody hired me back down here in 1969.
Well, the rest is history, and I tell people one of the things I like most about working at News Channel 8 and ABC 7 is I get to see you. So you are the dean. Don't tell Jim Vance I said that. You are the dean, and it's great to have you on the program. Now, as guest announcer, will you please do the honors and introduce our first guest, please?
I will. Arch,
Yes.
Your first guest has earned his reputation as one of the most distinguished political correspondents.
Well, anyhow, folks, there we go. That was it. Now, it's interesting how Gordo kind of, hold on a second. I'm going to turn this off. It's driving me crazy. Gordo kind of downplays his history, he doesn't say it was post-Newsweek or the Washington Post that hired him back in 1969 to work on Channel 9, then WTOP TV. And then he rose very quickly to be a top anchor there with Max Robinson. And in the 70s, all through the 70s, the turbulent 70s, the Watergate years and the end of the Vietnam War and all that stuff going on, it was Max Robinson and Gordon Peterson, the top news anchor. And Channel 9 was the TV news leader. Believe it or not. Can you believe that Channel 9 in Washington actually had the top newscast? It did when the Washington Post owned it. And over the years, the Detroit News then got the paper. The TV station became WDVM, or as Paul Farhi calls it, WDMV, in his little crazy universe. But anyhow, WDVM. And Gordon worked there for many years. And I forget exactly when. Somewhere in the 90s, right? Gordon, was it the 90s? I don't remember the date. I could Google it, but I'm not going to. Gordon then left and went over to Channel 7, where he's worked for many years now. But, he and Jim Vance are the two guys, Channel 4's Jim Vance, who have been here for 40 years covering TV news. Vance was always on Channel 4, although, there was rumblings. I think there were rumblings that he was going to get hired by Channel 9 there for a while. But, Vance has always stayed with Channel 4. He's been that one employer, whereas Gordon bopped away. But, Gordon is, and then he does the Inside Washington show on the weekends and whatever. Let's hope now, because Channel 7 is coming up for big transition later this year when the evil, rotten, ultra-right-wing bastards at Sinclair are going to come in and attach their tentacles to Channel 7 and squeeze the living life out of it. Let's hope that when that happens, Gordon somehow manages to survive. Now, we just reported here on DCRTV a little while ago that Gordon has signed another one-year deal with them, so he's going to be there through the transition. Okay? So it's going to be interesting to see how Gordon and Sinclair work out, because that's going to be an interesting thing. I don't know. But let's hope for the best for Gordon, because he deserves it. One of the all-time greats on Washington television, Gordon Peterson there. I just had to show you that. So there we go. All right, folks. Thanks for watching Dave TV for this 26th of August, 2013. Bazinga!